Alvin Bragg is reserving the right to come forward with this case in 2029, but the judge in that case, Judge Mershon, has said that they're going to adjourn. They're going to adjourn, and the prosecutor is making the decision that he wants to come back in 29. I guess he wants to have a reason for still having a career. Anyway, let's go over to what the Trump team is saying in reaction.
Re-elected President Trump with an overwhelming mandate to make America great again. It is now abundantly clear that Americans want an immediate end to the weaponization of our justice system, including this case, which should never have been filed, so we can, as President Trump said in his historic victory speech, unify our country and work together for the betterment of our nation. Fox's contributor and law professor at George Washington University, John Turley. Jonathan, we were talking last hour, and now a little bit more time has passed. Any fresh thoughts on November 19th and what we could see?
Well, the Trump administration, I think, can take some solace that they'll have a chance now to argue that the case should be dismissed. But I don't think expectations can be particularly high given this judge's track record. He has not shown any great balance at the trial. I was surprised in watching the trial to see some of his rulings, which frankly didn't make a lot of sense to me. I thought that he had left layers of reversible error, but none of that can be reviewed until this is finalized. Now, some have suggested that the judge could just freeze this for the upcoming term, to leave it in pendency. I just don't see that type of suspension as a likely or good option. You would have the president's critics saying that he's awaiting sentencing after a jury found him guilty of felonies. They need to have a status that where they can appeal this case, including the decisions made by this judge. Now, it is possible in a week that he could yield to calls for dismissal. You know, many have, including myself, felt that this case should never have been brought, that the judge made an unholy mess of it. In my view, it would be good to send the attractions back to their cages and call this circus over. But I wouldn't necessarily bet the farm on that one.
Wow. So again, just if you're joining us right now, some breaking news. The judge has called the sentencing off, and Alvin Bragg has now come forward requesting, the Manhattan DA, that sentencing happen in 2029. Woohoo! Like crazy town, okay? Crazy town. And this is why you need a desperate cleanup of this, because otherwise this really does threaten the entire... Why would anybody want to go into politics, for goodness sakes? I mean, you know what? He's kind of a glutton for punishment. I think he loves his country enough, and he's so determined as an individual. Just, you know, he's got the fight in him. Remember, fight. I mean, he's got it more than anyone, so he's willing to put up with this stuff. But most people wouldn't, okay? And that's a shame. It's a shame because we need to be better as a nation. We need to be more fair as a nation. You can't just go after political opponents. It happens way too much. If it happens once, it's way too much. So shame on this judge, shame on Alvin Bragg, shame on Letitia James and Fannie Willis and her BF, whatever that she's got down there, and Jack Smith and the rest of them. We need this fixed. He won. Americans told you we need it fixed. We got so much more to get to because you get some grifters over at MSNBC proving how much of the grifter mentality they really have. But first, another shout out to one of our great sponsors, and that would be Balance in Nature. I take my fruits and veggies every single day, which is really important this time of year as we're going into the holidays and everything's crazy and everything's busy and there's not as much sunlight, and I don't get enough as it is living in the Northeast. So balanceinnature.com is where I get my vitamins. I make sure I take my fruits and veggies, both are gummies every single day. You know, we're talking about health a lot lately, right? With RFK Jr. and HHS, this stuff is good. There's no gluten, there's no junk in it. You can be assured of that. So I encourage you to go over, take a look at Balance in Nature. They have the best deal that I think I've ever been able to present to you. So that's nice at year end. 50% off. 50% off with my name, code word Trish, 1-800-246-8751, 1-800-246-8751. And don't forget, you're helping the show, you're helping yourself. So win, win, win.